I'm Shefalee Vasudev from the Voice of Fashion. Our guest for the limited edition talk series is Suneet Varma, well-known couturier, designer, a very warm friend of mine. And I do not hesitate to say this will be on the Voice of Fashion IGTV, the most impeccably polite, flawlessly behaved person in Indian fashion that you will meet. Of the many things that you can learn from Suneet, humility, a sense of purpose and warmth is something that you must learn from him. And we constantly talk of survival strategies, we talk of fashion and design DNAs, but there is something about being a person, and my hat's off to Suneet for consistently being that.
Such an incredible introduction. I'm very humbled and very, very glad to be here. And thank you, Aditi, and thank you, Shefalee, and thank you, this wonderful school and all the students who actually logged in. It's such a pleasure for me, really. Thank you.
My very important question to Suneet right now. You know, Suneet, we also write a blog where INIFD students ask us questions and we answer. And I think the persistence of one question that keeps coming up is it possible to have a decent career in the fashion industry now, or have things changed in an unprecedented way and one should rethink a career in fashion?
Are you talking about post-COVID or just
in this year? Because it seems to have dampened a lot of high hopes. Is that true, or it would be fragile to think that way?
Shefalee, I think post-COVID, people's sentiments and people's aspirations have changed for almost every career type.
Yes.
Everybody's put a little bit of a handbrake on themselves in terms of what they want to do next, So I would not, whatever people are feeling or whatever people are thinking about post-COVID as a career choice, I would say don't take that too seriously, because this will settle down.
Right.
This will settle down. And if you have, but I would say that if you want to be a fashion designer and you want to be a fashion designer of persistence, somebody who will last a long time. I've been doing this for 32 years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
To be a fashion designer who wants to last a very long time, and I still feel I'm very young, and I still feel like I have so much more to do and so much more exciting projects to work with, So I think you have to become a fashion designer for the right reasons. If your true calling in life is to be a fashion designer, and
right,
the right reason, if it's not for the fame, if it's not for me, if it's not for the glamour, if it's not for being featured in some magazine on the cover or the page 3, if you want to be a designer because you love design,
yes,
and you love textiles, and you love creating, and you love costume, any of those areas, then I think you should most certainly stay with your career option and be a fashion designer.
As a fashion designer, what a fashion designer expects from a interior designer or a set designer to create?
I think when you, Chavi, to answer your question, when you're doing real interiors, which is what I did for a hotel, when you're doing real interiors, you are looking at something that will last a very long time and then also fall into the brand inspiration of, let's say, that property. Okay, so I have to that actually work with the ethos of the design, which work with the color, with the ambience. When you do a set designs, which is, I work with Suman Jaikishan, I work with Mahesh Sharma, I work with a lot of really great set designers who actually create spectacular sets, not just for fashion shows, but also massive weddings from the Ambanis to up and down.
Yes,
that's a very different kind of skill, because you have to put together the set for the show in less than, very often, 12 hours. So you have to prefabricate everything. So it's far more work beforehand. And in 12 hours, you have to put the entire set together. And there also, you have to put a set together with material that is inexpensive, preferably, inexpensive, not labor intensive, that endures beautifully and still is able to create the imagination of the designer, his inspiration, and the viewer. So it's a very different, so I think that's an exhibition design kind of philosophy, as opposed to an interior design kind of philosophy. Because for exhibition design, you have to have a different mindset. how things look when they're lit up, how things look when, when the lights come on, how does the gray shadow look? Does the green look more gray? Does the red look too red? When the lilac garment is coming, if you put a light on it, does it start looking too like a blue-gray? So I think that's a very different skill set. And if you want to be able to get into designing sets for fashion shows and weddings and design like that, then you have to have a different skill set altogether alongside being an interior designer.
Thank you, sir.
Due to the current pandemic situation, how do you think the current fashion trends have changed?
Yes, hi, Hinal. Well, like I said in the very beginning, I didn't want the COVID to affect my spirit, so to say. So I would not say I've changed the trend and philosophy of my design. I would say I've just only extended the line. So we do understand that people don't want to spend a lot of money. We do understand that people don't have that many occasions. We do understand the weddings have become much smaller. We understand people don't want to look very opulent. So what do you offer to them that they still feel they've created a wonderful memory for themselves on their very special occasions, but also at the same time, not have to spend an arm and a leg. So you do clothing that are actually less expensive. You do clothing that are slightly more toned down, because obviously you don't want to, look very opulent in a smaller gathering. But at the same time, I think, I would say the memory of the COVID is not going to last forever, but the memory of your beautiful wedding will last a lifetime. So I think people always remember beautiful memories more than the more difficult ones. So I would still say that people want to celebrate life and their special day.